out on the runway working on it. So that's basically, does anybody have any questions about that? I'd be glad to answer. One of the things that's gonna happen in the spring also, an approach lighting system that we have right now is ancient. It's decades old, and it's something that was designed during probably right after the Wright brothers. And it will be updated with a new system. All of that is paid for by the federal government and state funding. So that's not anything out of pocket of Angel Fire. So that's kind of what's happening. It just keeps the airport closed when we could getting low revenue, but this is the low season, so it's probably the best time. They should be completed November 15th, and that's the end date. And they'll probably get there at that time.
That with the giant access point.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of calls on that. We were saying that was actually the UFO approach signal. So when never mind. So anyhow, so lighting project should be completed November 15th. That's our hope. Hangar land lease came to the forefront a week or so ago. And what we've talked about that before, you all looked at some documentation that I created back in January, February. But it's now come to a point where the county has agreed to kind of facilitate having leases go through them until such time as we take over the sponsorship. So that being done, I'm working with both the county. We've got the attorneys are going to have to get involved in the contract, but we have a couple people who are ready literally to sign checks and start moving land this spring and building their own private hangars. So part of what will come to you will be looking at that agreement, voting on the term of that, whether it's 25 or 30 years, you know, just basic things like that. We should have that all laid out. But I did want to advise you, we are moving forward. If anyone has any question, if you're in contact with your business, please have them call me. Right now, without having to move much land, we could probably build 3 pretty good sized private hangars out there. Now, that being said, we are not foregoing the funding to build another large hangar if the state will grant those monies. And we're meeting with the state on Friday just to kind of start that, you know, kind of grease that rail a little bit as we start looking for grant funding for that. And then finally on that, kind of a side thing, unfortunately, the county and the county engineer has not seen or heard anything from the contractor who is supposed to come out and put a new door on it and put in our fuel containment pad. So that's unfortunately all in the county. There's not a lot we can do because that's all their contracts and everything at this point. We only keep counting on the door, so that hopefully the county keeps counting on the door. All right, and then last but not least, advisory committee. We are excited to say it looks like we're going to get a restart, and you should expect to hear from the mayor when he returns at the next meeting with some names to fill our vacant spots. Excellent people who have a lot of experience here in the village and a lot of gravity here too. I think the only way to say it, meaning they're going to be good people who can really help us from the business aspect to this sponsorship change. So I stand for questions.
Jeff,
Yes,
of
sir.
those 3 hangars, would they be 1 plane hangars or more?
It would be up to the individual. I mean, literally, they're gonna sign the contract and build a house. Do you wanna, 100 by 100, it'll be up to them to decide, and it'll be up to them, to provide the contractors to build it. And I think that's what's exciting because there's some people who really wanna do some nice things out. That's kind of that beginning. And then they'll start to see these build out over the years. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next, Public Works Director, Kurt Epler.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Al, members of the council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. Updates on the Departments of Public Works. With solid waste, the contractor that we obtained to place the scales as they finally showed up and, did some form work and tied all the steel. They were hoping to pour the pads last week. It didn't happen. We'll be able to provide update at the next meeting. Hopefully those pads will be poured. The scaled, pads that, the scale components themselves are on site right now. They're just running behind on schedule and some other projects, and then, well, it looks like that we'll get the concrete poured here pretty soon. And hopefully we'll have that, implemented here pretty soon. With the maintenance department, they just recently winterized the median on North Angel Fire Road, and got that all protected, so hopefully it'll be intact come spring. The streets department, we have, started, a project on our Miho Drive. There's a, section of road, in the addresses in the thirties and forties in number. The road profile over time has, through erosion or whatever means, settled down quite a bit. So we're elevating the road in some places up to 18 inches. We literally had culverts higher than the road. So, that's in progress right now. It started yesterday and, is going pretty well. The rest of the streets department is continuing with, drainage and bar ditch work and, the continuous maintenance of the roads. They have also just recently, milled up a fair number of areas of Chip Seal Road within Angel Fire. Alpine Lake Way over by the lake was an area that had deteriorated, extremely bad, and got that milled up. Came out real nice. We also placed base course over it after we milled it up. They have also, milled up Valle Grande North, which is one of our busiest roads here. And that was something that we've really been battling with for some time. And, that, road is going to be topped with base course as well, over the milled up material that we put on there. And streets department has been helping with workforce housing as well. In the water department, quite a lot going on. The booster station upgrades are going well. We have the tank 10 booster, which goes up to 2G, and tank 11. Not only got new pump components, but a new structure over it. Tank 9, all of the pump upgrade is complete in there, and, tank 6, and they're currently working on tank 8. With preparations being made to tank 4, preparations by our guys to get it ready for the contractor. The initial feedback, particularly from tank 6, is the guys, their basic description was it's gonna be a game changer. They were able to test it and, see that they could move water from tank 6 to tank 7 much quicker than we could in the past. So if an emergency arises, our recovery time is gonna be much shorter. Repair of, fire hydrants. Of the list that we have after the inspection report, 8 of those were resolved last week. But I want to note that prior to getting the inspection report, that, I believe the number that was given to me were 22 fire hydrants had been addressed with issues. So we're moving forward with that. I've given the water department a very lofty goal of addressing every fire hydrant on the inspection list prior to winter. They've accepted the challenge, and I think they're well on their way. Do I have any questions in regards to either of those departments?
Is the water meter project, is there a current count on how many they have left? I know last time you and I talked, it was still a couple hundred at least. That's still about.
It's still in the 200 range. They haven't hit 100 yet.
Okay.
It's definitely, something that moves at a much slower pace than just swapping the meter out. So we will not get, the rest of them done before winter. It just doesn't seem possible. But every one that we get is a big plus for us. Have had people approach and ask of, when the app will be available, that, people will get real-time information on their water usage, and and monitor their meter and everything, and it's a work in progress right now with that company. Usually when that application is made available when the entire project is done and everything is in place. But they have notified us that, we can get it up and running even if we don't have all the meters in.
Thank you.
Police Chief Jerry Hogarth.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman. Especially our newest council. Congratulations, Mr. Curry,
Thank you.
and clerk and manager. I think you have a statistical data sheet in front of you. This time I did add September of 24 stats in there, just so you have kind of comparison to September of 25. I will note that in September of 24, we operated with 4 officers on the street, where September of 25, we had 6, fully staffed, of course. Calls for service for September, pretty steady, down a little bit from August, the month before, as expected. We slowed down just a little bit, but there were still 202 calls. Incidents reported and calls for service was 116, so up slightly from August. Warrants generated, there was only 1. There was 1 arrest. There were 2 crashes that were reported to Major Fire Police Department. And there were 57 traffic citations issued in September, with 1 being a non-traffic citation. The traffic safety grant did conclude at the end of September. And sometime later this month in October, we'll have our standard audit for activities and reporting on that. Don't believe we have anything to worry about whatsoever with that. I went to Santa Fe and took a domestic violence investigations instructor course and received certification for that. Officer Sanchez, we sent him to Texas, Midland, Texas, where he obtained his TASER instructor certification. So we now have a certified TASER instructor here in the northern part of New Mexico. And Officer May took an advanced rifle training course at San Juan County and passed that. He is now certified as a police sniper. So I want to get with Jeff and see if we can't help out with some of the rodent problem out there as training opportunities. I say that somewhat jokingly, but somewhat sincerely. And CEO Legg, our code enforcement officer, his last day was Sunday. He headed out to Alamogordo this morning. Family obligation took him away from the job here. He will be missed, but we are accepting applications and we'll be scheduling interviews for that position. So if you know anybody that would be a good fit in the code enforcement, civil enforcement world, please send them my way so we can get an interview set up with them. That's all I have. I stand for questions. Thank you.
Next, we have Parks and Recreation Director Shay Dibbles.
Good evening. Update at the community center. I'll start with that. The units for the splits are there and they're on the outside and on the inside. All of the rooms have them except for the gym, and they will be wired this week. And then the HVAC guys will come back and do the rest of the tubing and everything next week. So we should have pretty much every room with heat, except for the gym. The boiler, the new boiler for the gym is in Santa Fe, I believe. And once they get heat going in the building, then they're gonna work on the boiler and the radiant floor heat. So it's moving right along and hopefully it'll just keep doing that. And, before it gets really cold. The west side of the roof extension is complete and done, and it turned out very, very nice. Allen Field's closed at the end of the month. There's some soccer games and some soccer practices going on up there right now. And I know there were grants applied for the concessions in the bathrooms. I haven't heard any updates on that. And I'm also not sure of the status of the Frank Young extension in regard to the resort property. So I have an update on that. At the center, we have Meet the Candidates for Council. It's tomorrow, the 15th. I don't remember what time it starts, but
Thanks.
6, okay, it starts at 6. And then, we're also having a Halloween Boo Bash, kids night, at the center on the 31st, starting at 5:00. Any questions?
Just on the heat for the community center, do y'all have a backup or is it just winterized in case it gets pretty cold? Is there?
Well, in regard to the boiler, I assume is what you're talking about, the water, because we're gonna have the heat should be working by end of next week.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to get really cold this week, that was all.
Yeah, to Friday and Saturday down
Yeah.
to 30. So
Get some backup heat or something.
I'll probably just run some space heaters, I'm thinking. I was actually just talking to Rob about that, saying, will things freeze or whatnot, but, cause I thought of that too. I'll probably just do some space heaters and whatnot and hope, since it's not too cold, that nothing can really happen.
Yeah,
Put it where some pipes are.
sure.
And then, if something goes wrong with installing a new boiler for the radiant floor heat or anything, if we had to, we would, dump out all the water and just make sure things don't freeze all over again. But so far it's moving along, so we shouldn't hopefully have any issues.
Manager.
Mayor, council, one thing that will help in that regard, and not that it's a cure-all for the previous, but we did replace all the copper with PEX. And so, as you may be aware, PEX doesn't freeze to the same extent copper does.
Yeah, good for and they put more, insulation around everything, and so it's much better than it was before, so. Okay, thank you.
Any committee reports? All right. We don't have any old business, so first item under new business, discussion to approve appointment of Rob Tiblis to the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board.
Any discussion? If not, I'll make a motion to approve appointing Rob Tibblish to the Lodger Tax Advisory Board.
Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Point of order,
Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, that has to be, each person has to vote individually on the
Okay,
of a committee member.
all right. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote on item A, Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Welcome to the committee. Item B, discussion, approve resolution 2025-64, various bars. Adrian Brendan.
Good evening, council. Stand before you all to address the various budget adjustment requests that have been made to the current year budget. The attachment actually has a pretty good explanation of what each of them, the adjustments was for. And I stand prepared to answer any questions that you have about those. I would also like to preface by saying that each of these adjustments falls into one of two categories. It was either to create or increase a line item based on a discovery of need, or the other option was it was to drop or decrease a line item based on an adjustment to a need. So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing pushes and pulls. It's not just one fund that's affected. We've got 28 of them that we operate out of. And so various funds are impacted by these adjustments. I will say that after all these adjustments have been made, that each of the fund bottom line balances is still healthy. And I have all the numbers here if you want to get into any of those. And I would also like to add finally that Manager Weir's goal is that by the end of the year, the general fund in particular, that it keep a minimum of $3 million as a cash position. And our current projections have that ending balances a little over 3.2 million. I stand for any questions you may have.
Mr. Manager.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, just to clarify, the 3.2 million is our projected ending cash. Right now, we actually have about 4.6 in cash.
Yes.
But we're projecting, once we go through the year, we'll still have 3.2 million in cash available.
Thank you for
Okay,
that.
and that's also in excess of our reserve. So we have about 1.1 million in reserve. That's not counted in that.
Yeah.
There's no other questions. I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-64 various bars.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Roll call
Yeah,
vote
roll.
on item B.
A roll call vote on all these.
Mayor Pro Tem Pop,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Curry.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Next is discussion approve resolution 2025-66 reimbursement of actual expenses for Officer Avis May.
Thank you. Before you, you have this item. It is, just as you said, it's to reimburse Officer Alvis May for $27.04 while he was attending the, advanced rifle training course in San Juan County. He experienced a malfunction with the detachable magazine from the department issued rifle. He was able to find one at a gun store, purchased it himself, so I'm here to ask for reimbursement for him for that.
If no discussion, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-66 reimbursement of actual expenses for Officer Alvis May.
I'll second.